All right. So the basic requirements for you people
My class
to
was done and it's
right the basic the basic requirement for you people to actually set up a lab at your home is 500 GB hard disk and 4 GB RAM, and graphic card is actually optional. So optional in the sense you can actually have a graphic card or you don't have graphic card, that's not a problem. And anything above Core i3 is actually sufficient. So Core i3 processor is more than enough. I mean, so basically this is wait just a minute. Okay, so basically this is the minimum requirement for you people to actually have this is minimum requirement for you people to set up a lab back at home. Now how you're going to do that? For that, the thing is, if at all you are using Windows machine, or if at all you are using Mac operating system, I mean Apple MacBook or whatever it may be, if at all you are using Linux machine, whatever it may be, it just doesn't matter. So what you are going to do is open up your browser and go with virtualbox.org. So basically the machine I have on, I mean the operating system that I have on my machine is Windows. So basically you're able to see this is a Windows machine what I have, and what I need is that I need to install Kali Linux on my Windows machine. So two operating systems that should be working on a single machine is really a little bit hard. So for that purpose, what we need to do over here is that install a virtual box. So how we are going to install that virtual box is simply go with a website called virtualbox.org. So the website from where you are going to uh, get this is virtualbox.org. So this is the website from where you are going to download the VirtualBox. So how you're going to do that? Let's just check it out. So here you need to go with downloads. If you click on the downloads on the left here, it will redirect you to a page where you can download the VirtualBox. So the downloads over here should go with Windows host and OS X host, Linux distributions, Solaris hosts. So as I'm using a Windows machine, so let me just go with magnifier and I'll just show it to you over here. So guys, please mute your mics, right? I'll mute it. Okay, so in this virtualbox.org, you are able to see it is Windows hosts over here. So basically the base platform is Windows. I'm using Windows machine, so I'll go with Windows hosts and I'll click on Windows hosts. So what happens is that you are able to see when I go with Windows hosts, it is asking me to download VirtualBox and I mean a .exe file. So basically .exe file is Windows executable file. So what I'll do is that I'll simply click on save. And what happens when I save this file is it will actually save an exe file. So I'll just show that exe file over here. Just a minute. Okay, so here you are able to see the exe file. So this exe file is what you need to download. Once you download this exe file and simply double click on this exe file, you'll be getting installation of a software is really very easy in I mean, installation of a software in this particular Windows machine is really very easy. All you need to do is click next, 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 and you need to click on finish. So that's how you're going to install. Simply double click on this exe file and you'll be getting prompts to allow permissions. You need to allow the permissions and finally click on finish so that this VirtualBox will be installed. After you install the VirtualBox, what you need to do is go with VirtualBox again, and you need to download something called extension pack. So basically the extension pack over here is this one. So what is this extension pack needed for? The base machine, the basic Windows machine, what I have here is already using all the USB ports, LAN port, and all the ports that are connected to this particular computer are actually used by this particular Windows machine. So if at all it should be used by this particular virtual box, what I need to do is go with this particular extension pack over here. Okay, wait. What is this virtual box and why do you need this virtualization? I didn't tell you that, right? I'm sorry, I forgot that. So, what is this virtualization and what virtual box? What is this virtualization? So, just a minute. Okay. Virtualization. So basically, uh, the process which enables user to use more than two operating systems on the same machine. So basically virtualization is nothing but a platform which enables user to use more than two operating systems on the same machine. Now if I'm using a Windows machine over here and I also want to use Linux and I also want to use some other Ubuntu or any or other operating systems. So what I'm doing is that I'm going with virtualization. So what happens when I go with virtualization is that it will enable me or it'll give me access to use more than two operating systems on the very same machine. So that is what I'm doing over here and I'll go with virtualization. And after this virtualization, what I'll be doing is that to perform virtualization, I need to download this VirtualBox software, which I've shown you over here. And now what happens is that these machines or the operating systems that you are going to install on this particular VirtualBox are called virtual machines. So all these virtual machines, on all these virtual machines, what you need to do is you need to actually install all the virtual machines on VirtualBox. So if the virtual machines should be able to use the USB ports or the LAN port or the headphone jack or whatever ports you have on your hardware machine, if those are to be used by the virtual machine, you need to download this extension pack. If at all you simply click on all supported platforms, you will be able to see VBox extension pack. So this is the extension pack you need to download. Simply click on save and it will actually save this particular extension pack over here. So it will be saving this particular green color icon. So this is VVox extension pack. So if you simply double click on this, what happens is that it'll actually open up a virtual box. So, I mean, if you double click, it'll open up in VirtualBox Manager and let's simply double click over here. So it'll open up my VirtualBox over here. So, right. Now you are able to see it is actually asking me to downgrade because my current version is 6.1.8, but the version what I want to install is 5.2.18. As it is a lower version than 6.1.8, it is asking me to downgrade. So as I already have a new version, I'm not going to downgrade it. But if at all you have I mean, if at all you have, I mean, if at all it is for the first time, it'll actually go with install. So here you'll be getting an option called install, right? So what I'm going to do here is go with file and I should go with the preferences. And here under this extensions, I need to check whether this is active or not. As it is active, it is showing me the green tick mark over here. If at all this extension pack is not active, it will show me a red cross over here. So yeah, this is how you're going to check out how, if, I mean, if at all this VirtualBox is installed properly or not. Just a minute. Yeah, extension pack. So here I'll just tell you about extension pack again. So I need to go with VirtualBox. Right. So basically here you have the extension pack. So what you need to do is that simply click on this all supported platforms. Once you click on the all supported platforms, it will download the extension pack. Whatever extension pack you have downloaded, you can simply open it up. I mean, simply click on it and it will open up. So it will open up in your VirtualBox manager. On this particular screen, it will open up. So whenever you download this VirtualBox Manager, you won't be seeing these operating systems. So these are the operating systems what I have included: Kali Linux 20.1 and Windows 7, Windows XP, Metasploitable 2, Kali Linux, all these things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All these 6 machines I have. So all these 6 machines, what I have done is that all these 6 machines I have included over here. I have included in the sense I have downloaded and I have installed them over here. So whenever you download this, you will not have these operating systems over here. You'll only download the VirtualBox Manager. Now, what you are going to do over here is simply double click on the extension pack and it will open up here telling you to install the extension pack. You can simply click on install and it will install. To check out whether it is installed properly or not, go with file and go with preferences and check out in extensions, and you'll be able to find Oracle VirtualBox extension pack and it is active. So this is how you are going to do this. And right, once you are done with this, what you need to do is your VirtualBox manager is set up. Now this VirtualBox manager is okay. Now what you need to do is that you need to install these operating systems. How you're going to do that? Let me remove a few operating systems over here and let me install operating systems again. So I'm going to remove these operating systems, and now what I'll do is that I'll go with installation of Kali Linux. So how you're going to do that, let me show it to you. So you need to go with a particular web browser, Chrome or Mozilla, and open up kali.org, kali.org. In this particular kali.org, you should go with downloads. So what is this Kali? So basically this Kali is a setup. So basically this Kali is an operating system, a flavor of Linux. A flavor of Linux is Kali Linux. Now what we are doing is that we are going to use Kali Linux. Why we need to use Kali Linux is because this particular Kali Linux over here is actually responsible. I mean, this particular Kali Linux is, it actually have all the inbuilt hacking tools. So that's the reason you need to go with Kali Linux. So what you have over here is go with downloads. Simply click on downloads and go with download Kali Linux, and you will be able to see a lot of Kali Linux over here. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the table, you will be able to see Kali Linux 64 VirtualBox. So I am using a 64-bit machine. So I am using a 64-bit machine. Have to know if I'm using 64-bit machine or 32-bit machine. So what you need to do is that you need to go with system properties. So for system properties, so what you can actually do is that simply go with a particular window and right click on this PC. Right click on this PC and go with properties. So let me share the screen, just a minute. All right, so here you are able to see this is the system properties over here. Now where you'll be seeing is that what processor I have. It is Core i7, and this is the refresh rate of my CPU, and how much GB of RAM I have. I have 16 GB RAM, and what type of system I'm using over here. It is 64-bit.
సిస్టమ్ హ్యాక్ చేసే ప్రొసీజర్ చెప్తున్నాడు.
right? So guys, please
Some
mute
person
mic.
like this one.
uh, uh okay, you're having any doubt? Hello? Guys, please mute your mic. Okay, I'll mute it. Fine. Okay. Here I have, I'm using a 64-bit operating system over here. So basically this is a 64-bit operating system. That's the reason I'm actually going with the 64-bit version of Kali Linux over here. So what I need to do is I need to go with Kali Linux 64-bit VirtualBox, and I need to click on Offensive Security VM download page. So this is available on Offensive Security VM download page. I'll click on Offensive Security page and it will redirect me to download Kali Linux virtual image. So I'll simply scroll down and find Kali Linux VMware images, Kali Linux VirtualBox images. As I'm using a VirtualBox, I'll go with Kali Linux VirtualBox over here. And I'll go with Kali Linux VirtualBox 64-bit. I'll click on Kali Linux VirtualBox 64-bit. And once I click on it, I'll be able to get 64.ova. So this is OVA. So this OVA file is nothing but open virtualization format. So OVA is open virtualization format, you are able to see. So I need to click on save. I already have the Kali Linux image over here. So I have already downloaded Kali Linux VirtualBox 64-bit. So I'll just try to install that over here. So I already have this one over here. You see Kali Linux 18.2 I already have. What I'll do is that I'll simply double click on this particular OVA file. If I double click on OVA file, it'll open up a VirtualBox manager with this particular dialog box, import virtual appliance. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to import the VirtualBox over here. So before installation, what you can do is that you can check out all the details. So what is the name of product, and who is actually selling the product, or who is actually allowing you to download that, and from where did you download that, and what is the version, and what is the description, and what type of operating system it is. It is Debian 64-bit. So Debian is also a flavor of Linux. So Debian 64-bit is actually being used over here, and it needs dual core CPU, and how much amount of RAM it is actually occupying. And along with that, you also have a few things like, where this particular image is there, and base folder where you want to save this particular VirtualBox. You can actually change this, or you can actually go with the very same thing. So, and MAC address policy, I'll just include all the network adapters. You can also leave it as it is. So basically, I'll just go with include NAT and NAT network, or I can also go with include all network adapters. Anything is fine, because we can change this after installing this. So I'll simply click on import. So once I click on import, it will import a virtual disk over here. So let me just try to go with the installation, and I mean, it just takes 2 minutes of time. It's already, it's almost installed. So now the installation is completed, and now you are able to see Kali Linux 2018.2 is shown over here. Now what you are going to do is simply single click on this so that it turns blue, and what you are going to do is change a few settings. So I need to go with settings, and once I go with settings, okay, this is my machine, so I have one setting to change. Other than that, nothing. Okay, I need to go with the system over here, where I can actually change the memory. I can give 4048. I mean, I'm simply giving 4 GB of RAM over here because I have a lot of RAM. I'm just giving 4 GB of RAM, or I can also give 2 GB of RAM. It is sufficient. Anyhow, I'm not going to use this machine. I'll use 2020.1. That's absolutely fine. So this is one thing. And after that, I'll go with network. In this particular network, what I have is bridged adapter. So what is this bridged adapter and what are all these other adapters? Let's discuss about that in a bit, but I need to go with bridged adapter and I'll click on name of the adapters over here. So what is the name of adapter? Now you are able to see there are a lot of adapters here. So basically mine is different. So basically this is my mobile adapter and my mobile is connected by using USB cable to my laptop. So that's the reason it is showing Apple mobile device Ethernet. So it is not needed for you and host only. So all these other things are different things on my machine. So basically mine is a different version of laptop. So I'm having all these different adapters, but if at all you are I mean, I've bought this laptop from US, so I have different adapters over here. If at all you have a laptop that is imported, you'll see different types of adapters. But if at all you have an Indian laptop, you'll be only seeing two things. One is Ethernet controller or family controller. So family controller or Ethernet controller is used whenever you are connected to internet by using a LAN cable. The cable that you get from your internet service provider. If at all you are connected through LAN cable, then you need to use family controller or Ethernet controller. And if at all you are using a wireless network like Wi-Fi, right now I'm connected to Wi-Fi over here. So that's the reason I'm using a wireless network adapter over here. And after that, what I need to do is go with advanced and I need to go with allow all. So what is this promiscuous mode and why I need to go with allow all? So promiscuous mode is something which will allow my network interface card, the network interface card, whatever I have on my machine, to collect all the network data. So all the network data that is traveling through my network interface card will be accessible by this particular virtual machine. It is called promiscuous mode. So I'll simply go with promiscuous mode and I'm going with this wireless network over here and I'll refresh the MAC address and I'll simply click on OK. Now I have done all the settings, but the settings which I have shown over here, let me show it once more. I'll go with network. I'll simply click on settings on the top and just a minute. Okay, so basically over here you are able to see this is the network I have changed. So I'll go with network and I'll go with attached to, and previously it is in NAT. Right now it is in bridged adapter. Now you need to learn the differences between what is NAT, bridged, internal host, generic NAT network, not attached. So what I'll do is that I'll open up a presentation where I have, where I actually have included what each and everything means. So let me open up the PPT and I'll show it to you. All right. So you are able to see this. Yeah. So basically, this is the difference between host only, internal, bridged, and NAT network. So what we are going to do is learn about host only. So what is this host only? So basically this host only over here is, host only is the first one what you are going to see. And this is, all right, just give me a minute. So right here, you have this host only. So what this host only means is, whenever you go with VM to host, so basically virtual machine to host, you have internet connectivity. So this is all about internet connectivity. So whenever you want to communicate with virtual machine, connect to host from a virtual machine, it is possible. From virtual machine to host, it is possible. And from host to virtual machine, it is actually possible. And from virtual machine to from one virtual machine to another virtual machine also, it is possible. So the communication between one virtual machine and between two virtual machines is actually possible through host only. And the thing is here, from virtual machine to internet, it is not possible. And from internet to virtual machine, communication is not possible. So when you go with host only, you can communicate within the internal network, but you can't communicate with internet. So that is what I mean when that is the reason why we have selected bridge. So communication with internet is also important. Along with that, communication with the virtual machine and host is also important, and virtual machine to virtual machine is also important. Now, if at all you select internal, what happens is that you have virtual machine to host. So virtual machine to host communication is not possible because it is internal network, and host to virtual machine is also not possible. And between virtual machines, so basically what is this between virtual machines? I'll just let me just show it to you so that you can actually understand. So basically here you have these many virtual machines. So all these virtual machines must be able to communicate with each other. So that is what I'm actually trying to show you over here. So whenever you go with the internal network, what happens is that you will be able to communicate only between these virtual machines, but you can't communicate with host machine, which is my Windows machine, or you can't connect to internet using this particular internal network over here. So that is one part. And along with that, yeah, along with that, you have bridge. So what happens in bridge is that from virtual machine to host, and host to virtual machine to virtual machine, VM to network, from internet and internet to virtual machine, everything is possible when you go with bridge. So that is the reason why I have selected bridge. All the communication from virtual machine to host, host to virtual machine, between virtual machines and internet to virtual machine to internet, everything is possible. So that's the reason I have selected bridge over here. And you have NAT. So basically this NAT over here is something where you will be able to communicate to host, but host can't communicate with virtual machine. There is a topic called port forwarding, which we'll learn later. And you can't communicate between virtual machines. NAT stands for Network Address Translation, which is entirely a new topic we'll discuss during port forward. And we have virtual machine to internet and internet to virtual machine. So virtual machine to internet is possible, but internet to virtual machine, you need a port forward over here. So yeah, this is how you are this is how you are going to use this NAT over here. And finally, you have NAT network here. Right, and in this particular NAT network, what we have is communication between virtual machine to host and host to virtual machine. And and along with that, virtual machine to virtual machine, everything is possible. But the thing is, NAT network, what's the difference between NAT and NAT network is only the virtual machine communication over here. So you have communication between virtual machines when you go with NAT network, but not NAT. That's the only difference what you have between NAT and NAT network. So this is so basically this is some difference what I can show you over here, and I can click on OK. And to start this particular virtual machine, I'll just go with start. So when I click on start, it will open up another window. It will open up another window like this. So my Kali Linux is actually loading on this particular window. I'm having a Windows machine, and I also have, I'm having a Windows machine, and also I have another machine, another Linux machine over my, over my Windows machine. So the username and password are actually shown here. So where do you find the username and password? So for the username and password, you need to go with the description. So in the description, you are able to see username and password is root and tour. So what is this root? Username is root and password is tour. So what you are going to do is use the very same username and password here. So I'll go with username root, and the password is reverse of root TOOR. So this is what you're going to do over here, and let this Kali Linux open up. So this is the Kali Linux home page. Let me change the resolution. Give me a second. Right, just give me a second. It is stuck here. Just a minute. There's a virtual machine is stuck here. All right, that's not a big deal. So what I can do is that I can open up another virtual machine for you. So I'll go with another Kali Linux. So let me show you the Kali Linux what I have already downloaded. So this is the Kali Linux I already have. So open up Kali Linux. Right. Once I open my Kali Linux, I have a few things over here. So I'll click on the top left corner where I have all the different types of information gathering tools, vulnerability analysis tools, web application tools, database, password attacks, and all types of tools are actually available here, and social engineering tools, all these tools are available. So basically this is how you are going to use this particular Kali Linux, and you have a terminal where you can actually give some commands over here, and you can use this Kali Linux from command line even. So basically why Kali Linux is very famous. Why? Because Kali Linux have Kali Linux have both graphical user interface where you can actually click on something and open it, and at the same time you can also use it from command line. So that's the reason Kali Linux is very famous for hacking. It have both user interface, along with it, it also have graphical interface. I mean, this is command line interface and graphical interface. So that's the reason this Kali Linux is really very famous. And what you need to do is you simply need to open up this Kali Linux, and you can open up a terminal. So this particular Kali Linux will open up a terminal like this. In this terminal, you're going to give the basic commands. So what are the basic commands? I'll give you a list of basic commands. I'll check out if at all I have a list of basic commands. So I think I'll have a list of basic commands. If I have them, I'll just show it to you, and I'll show them how to use the list of basic commands. If not, I'll just type the list again. Just give me a second. I'm just searching for the list of basic commands. All right, I have a list of basic commands here. So the terminal is strictly case sensitive. Case sensitive in the sense you only need to use lowercase letters or you only need to use capitals wherever they are necessary. So, all right, the thing is what we are going to do over here is open up your terminal and go with the basic things over here. So let me show you a few things. So first of all, you need to know where you are working from. Where you are working from is PWD, present working directory. So this is where you are working. Home@Kali is the directory you are actually working from. And cal will give you the calendar, and date will give you the date. So all these things are pretty much common. I mean, you can actually use all these commands, and the most important thing is ls. So basically ls is list all the directories. ls is to list out all the directories. So that is what I have done here. I'm listing all the directories that are there in home Kali. In home Kali, whatever are there, I'm listing them out. So that is the reason I have got desktop documents, downloads, and everything here. Now, the thing is, you need to understand navigation. So how you're going to navigate into one, how you're going to navigate into one directory, and how you're going to get out of the directory and everything you'll be learning now. So what I'll do is that cd change directory to desktop. So right now I'm giving small d over here. You are able to see capital D is given in the list of directories. So desktop starts with a capital D. I'm giving small d over here, and I'll go with enter. Now what happened, you see, no such file or directory, but there is desktop here, but it says no such file or directory. Why? Because I have given small d, where small d is not an option here. So what I'll do is that I'll simply go with cd desktop. Now you are able to see I've got desktop. Let's go with ls again. And you see, these are the files that are present on the desktop, or I can go with pwd. So you are able to see home Kali desktop. See, this is that simple. Home Kali desktop is the directory I'm right now working in. PWD stands for present working directory. So PW stands for present working directory. So this is how you're going to know where you are actually working. And okay, this is how you're going to learn. I mean, this is the command. These are the basic commands. Enough as we are in desktop, I need to create a directory. In order to create a directory, I'll go with mkdir and space. I'll go with some random name, Avengers. So make directory Avengers. Now I'll go with ls again, and you are able to see Avengers is actually here. Now I need to navigate into Avengers again. So I'll go with cd and Avengers. You are able to see cd Avengers will give me Avengers over here. So I'm right now into Avengers. What I'll do is that I'll create again two different directories, mkdir make directory Captain America and mkdir Iron Man. I have made two different directories. I'll simply type ls, and you are able to see there are two different directories that are created in this particular folder, Iron Man. So what I can do is that now I'll navigate into Captain America. Now I have to go to this particular path over here. I need to go to desktop again. I don't want to be in Captain America directory. I need to go one step backward. In order to go one step backward, what I need to do is cd space dot dot and click enter. If I click cd space dot dot, I'll go one step backward. And again, I'll give cd space dot dot. I've went one step backward. So this is how we are going to go one step backward. I mean, one directory to another directory by using command line cd and giving that particular file name will get you into the directory, and cd dot dot will get you out of the directory. So this is how we are going to use cd command, change directory command. Now I want to remove Avengers over here. So what I need to do is simply go with rm space hyphen rf, remove, along with that remove all the files in Avengers. So this is the command I'm going to use. Rm is for remove and hyphen rf is for remove all the files, and I'm going with Avengers and I'll click enter. Now ls, you are able to see Avengers is totally gone, which means that I have deleted Avengers from this particular path. So this is how we are going to use the basic commands. And along with that, let's also see what all other commands I have here. Right, okay, I'll just show you how to create a text file and have to read a few things from text file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the command called echo. So what I'll do is that get dir Avengers cd Avengers mkdir. All right, just a minute. So right now, if I'm going to create another test file over here, I mean, it's a test directory. I'll just go with the command ls, which will list out the directories I have on my present working directory. I'll navigate into the test file over here. So I'll navigate into test and I'll go with echo, and I'll just give any of the random text, something like Captain America is the best Avenger, some random thing over here, and I'm going to give the direction operator. So what exactly is this direction operator? I'm writing echo, the command which will echo this particular, this particular text file, whatever I'm writing over here, into the directory, whatever I mentioned here. So I'll go with home, Kali, and desktop, Avengers, and test. So this is the path where this particular test folder is there. So I'm simply giving the direction operator that this should be echoed into this particular path with the file name test text dot txt. The extension for this text file should be txt. If at all you are writing any code over here, if at all it is something like, if at all you are writing an Android code, you can give .apk, or if at all you are writing some executable code, you can give .exe, and you can simply click enter. Now what happened is that you have actually echoed this particular line over here into the text file called test text.txt, which is actually present in this particular location. So let me just check it out. I have got test text.txt over here. So I'll just go with the mousepad. So mousepad is an inbuilt Kali Linux tool over here where you can use it to edit text. So I'll give the file name and open it up, and you are able to see Captain America is the best Avenger is what I have given over here. The line what I have entered here, it is actually echoed into this particular location. So that's the reason I'm able to see whatever I have written over there in the mouse pad. So I'll simply close this. So mousepad is one command where you can actually edit whatever text file you have. Let it be a Python file, let it be some a random.exe file, or whatever file you have, you can actually open it up in mousepad so that it will give you a chance to edit that code. So let it be any of these extensions, I mean, any of the executable file extensions, or any of the coding extensions, you can actually use mousepad to edit the text over there. And what else do you have? Okay, you can actually go with cat. Cat is the command which will actually show all the things on terminal. So I need to go with cat space, the file name, which will actually show up on the terminal. So this is the terminal you have. So yeah, on the terminal, it is showing whatever line I have written over here, it will show on the terminal. So these are a few commands. So if at all you want to get very well acquainted with all these commands, I prefer to go to this particular website here. I'll just show it to you. Open up Google and go with CLI cheat sheet. So here you have CLI cheat sheet. CLI is command line interface, and cheat sheet is where you'll find all these shortcuts for all these commands over here. So go with command line cheat sheet over here. The first one, which is related to Git tower, GITTOWER, and you'll be able to find the list of commands. So these are the list of commands. So all these are related to directories, all these are related to files. This is related to search. This is for network. This is for all the processes, and this is for giving the permissions. You have all these list of commands where you can actually use them along with the description and syntax. So you can just try out these commands. So you can actually try these commands over here. And right, what your people need to do is try to install Kali Linux on your machine by tomorrow. If at all you are facing any trouble, let me know tomorrow so that I can solve any technical issues you have. And along with that, you can actually try out all these particular commands on online terminal. So you can simply go with Linux containers. So whenever you go with Linux containers, you'll have linuxcontainers.org, the first website. You can click on Linux containers, and you can go with LXD. LXD is the where is the page where you will be able to have online terminal. So simply click on try it. So once you go with the try it option, you have start at the bottom. So click on start. It will start the Linux container over here, and you have a Linux container. So simply go with ls mkdir and test and ls. Now you are able to create directories, you are able to navigate through directories. So basically you can do whatever you want over here. So simply practice these commands, have to use these commands over this particular Linux containers, and tomorrow we'll just get going with all the I'll just repeat all the commands again. I'll just give you a brief of all these commands, have to use these commands, and what are the uses of each command, and we'll just check it out. We'll just check out about all the Linux commands and have to install other operating systems which are required for the further course duration in tomorrow's session. Right, so just a minute. Yeah, I'll just go with all these command prompt. Okay, the command prompt will be again told tomorrow. So yeah, so don't worry, I'll just cover it up in tomorrow's session. So for now, just wrap up session. And if you have any doubts, let's just check it out tomorrow. Right, okay. If you have any doubts, please let me know in the chat, or I'll just wind up the session for now, and we can check it out tomorrow. Okay, I'm wrapping up the session for today, and we'll look at all the different commands that we have and all the different types of exploits that we are going to see in tomorrow's class. Thank you.